What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Charles Conwell. Of course, Charles Conwell was on the delivering end of a punch delivered to Patrick Day, ultimately knocking him out, putting him into a coma, and dying. And shortly after, the regretful Conwell wrote a letter to Patrick, which ultimately he never saw, unfortunately, but this is what this letter said. He said, "I never meant for this to happen to you. All I ever wanted to do was win. If I could take it all back, I would. No one deserves for this to happen to them. I replay the fight over and over in my head, thinking, what if this never happened, and why did it happen to you? I can't stop thinking about it myself. I prayed for you so many times and shed so many tears because I couldn't even imagine how my family and friends would feel. I see you every day. I see you everywhere I go, and all I hear is wonderful things about you. I thought about quitting boxing, but I know that's not what you want, or I know that's not what you would have wanted. I know that you were a fighter at heart, so I decided but to fight and win a world title, because that's what you wanted and that's what I'll want. So I'll use you as motivation every day and make sure I always leave it all in the ring every time. Hashtag Champ Patrick Day. With compassion, Charles Conwell." Now, a lot of people are thinking about the family, the surrounding factors of this incident. You know, his brothers, his mom, dad, friends, family, associates, promoters, trainers, but it has to have an equal effect on Charles Conwell, because Charles Conwell is the person responsible. He's the other part of that coin that resulted in Patrick Day's death. Now, this is a hard pill to swallow for Conwell, because, just like Patrick Day didn't know it was going to be his last day alive, Charles didn't know that he was going to be the one that is responsible for that. So it's a double-edged sword, because it affects him deeply. You think about fighters of the yesteryear that had that same effect on that. Unfortunately, they killed a fighter in the ring. I think of Max Baer. I think of Boom Boom Mancini. I think of Emil Griffin. And those incidents changed those people's lives forever. It was never the same after that. Now, I won't be surprised if Charles Conwell turns around and doesn't fight again, because that's a natural thing. You don't want to be responsible for another death. Okay? Boom Boom Mancini, he quit. He never fought after he beat Kim. Okay? After he killed Kim in the ring, he never fought again after that. Max Baer had nightmares day and night on the killing of the people that he's responsible for stopping. And, Emil Griffin also had psychological problems, spiritual problems that affects you. You relive that over and over and over again, because you've killed someone. Okay? Taking someone's life when you didn't make the life is totally, that's a total different thing. So it's a thing like, hey, I can only imagine. Now Charles Conwell has to deal with that every day of his life. And it has to be a very difficult thing to deal with daily, especially when you keep hearing, like he explained in the letter, the good things, the positive things, the way he carried himself. You know, he spoke well. You know, he was motivated for boxing. He wasn't this broke kid that came from a disturbed home. He didn't have a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't a bully. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. He was all the he was a lot of positive things. Okay, he was a good guy. He and and how do you expect to react to that? You know, man, that was a real good dude right there. You know. So the more people talk about him, you know, the lower he feels in spirit. You know, so that's got to be a very shitty thing. Very, very unfortunate thing. You know, when you're dealing with, you know, an incident like this. I mean, and it's bad. I mean, I guess you'd feel better if you found out the dude was a dick. You know, a hard person to get along with, or a bully, you know, woman beater or whatever. But there's no cushion for it. There's no, you know, there's no justification for any of this. It was a bad situation. But it does take integrity for Charles Conwell to write a type of letter like this, you know, to Patrick, you know, assuming that he was going to live, you know, but that was really for his family. And, you know, my heart goes out to both guys because it affects both people at the end of the day. You know, this would be different if this was some kind of isolated incident where it dealt with some kind of domestic dispute or some, you know, this was a professional bout. These were two professional fighters. You know, sure, they know that it was a brutal sport, but then who anticipated this? You know, so again, my prayers goes out to the Day family and the Conwell family as well, and with Charles to deal with this in any way that he possibly can. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about the letter that Conwell wrote to Patrick Day and his family. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.